Alright, what's up guys? It's Intellitech Mobile here, and I've got a rant for you. This is my Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 3. I've had it for a few years now. I got it in late 2023. So, you can do the math there. When I bought this, it was almost the newest device. Not quite, but it was, close enough to it. I think the 4, maybe the 5 was out. Either the 4 or at least the 4 was out, maybe the 5. I can't remember. But either way, this thing, I got it and it was working great. And then a week later, after I buy it, of course I bought it off a private seller. And yeah, the speaker stopped working, which was weird because the speaker hadn't like stopped working after a drop or anything. You might be thinking, so then what made the speaker stop working? Well, I installed a software update on the phone, and for whatever reason, the speaker stopped working after that software update. Don't know why, just did. I have a theory, which we'll get to in a minute, but I don't actually know. Now, at the time, the speaker was partially working. It went from fully working to only working when the phone is shut. So this top speaker was working, but this bottom speaker, or I guess whichever speaker activates when the phone is open, that wasn't working. So I had this weird issue where if I was watching a video on the inner screen and I went to go close it, the second I went to about here, the audio would start playing. And then I would unfold it, and then it would stop again. Speakerphone calls didn't work, and overall the audio experience was just bad because when the audio was working with the phone shut, it sounded great. I love the speakers on this thing, but I haven't heard them in years because that's what happened. So I frantically tried to install more software updates. It was up to date. Tried to call Samsung. They wouldn't help me. They basically said, "Well, it's not under warranty anymore. It actually went out of warranty, a couple months ago." And I was like, "Are you friggin' serious?" And I was like, "This happened after a software update, though. I didn't break it or anything." They're like, "Nope, it's not under warranty. We won't touch it." They're like, "But you can trade it in." And here's the crazy thing. At the time, I would have been able to trade it in towards an S23 Ultra because this was late 2023. I should have just did that because they had good trading credit. But except then they came out with the S24 Ultra. Didn't have the deal with the 23 Ultra anymore, which I still would have taken. And then the 24 Ultra, well, instead of giving you like 600 off on a fold, they gave you like 200. And I was like, that's dumb. I'd rather just sell it for 200 and then not buy the phone, because why would I support Samsung after they're trying to, rip me off on this? Because again, the thing is if I had dropped this and the speaker had stopped working, that would be fine. But no, it was the fact that a software update was installed, and I feel so vindicated because I'm the last person to ever install a software update on a phone. I'm usually very antsy about them. And I thought, okay, well, it's the Fold. I gotta, make sure it's up to date so that way it is a nice experience. And it bricks the fucking phone. Because, yeah, I mean, the phone works, as you can see, but you can't hear anything. So you have to use it with earbuds all the time. You can't take phone calls, can't do nothing. There's no audio coming out of this. Not even in the test mode. Not even in any mode you can think of. Safe mode doesn't matter. Speakers don't work. They just don't. It's like they're not even plugged in. So I called Samsung multiple times, tried to get somebody on the phone that I could explain the situation to, and they're like, "Nope, it's not our warranty, we can't cover it." And I'm like, I've looked all over the internet. This is a big issue with these. There's thousands of other people saying the exact same experience that I've had, where they installed a software update and their speakers stopped working. Are you seriously telling us that we have to now buy a new phone when this phone was $2,000 when it friggin' came out? And at this point, when I had, started complaining about it, it was less than 2 years old. Even if I had gotten it on release day, it would have been less than 2 years old. But the warranties, of course, it's only a year. And this thing was probably a year and a half old. I mean, I got it secondhand, but the original person that got it, got it in, probably October of 2022? So since I was complaining about the speakers in December of 2023, they're like, nope, you're a couple months out of your warranty. Oops, sorry, you're shit out of luck. And here's the crazy part. I said, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and pay to have the speakers replaced, because obviously, if it is a software issue and they get it in, and I just say it's the speakers, but then it actually is a software issue, maybe they'll replace the device, or maybe they'll actually find a way to fix the issue. Except I couldn't do that because no customer service rep would let me send it in. They were like, oh no, we can't do that. We don't take in phones anymore. I'm like, what are you talking about? You can't fix your own damn phones? They're like, you can take it to a Best Buy and have them send it off to us. I'm like, why wouldn't? They're like, I'm like, why wouldn't I just send it off to you directly? I've done it before. I sent in my Note 5. I understand that was a long time ago, but I sent in my Note 5 and you guys fixed it, no problem. They're like, oh, we can't do that now. And they're like, do you live in New York? I'm like, no, I don't live in New York. I'm like, I know the Samsung store is in New York, but I can't, I don't live in New York. So the rep basically was like, oh, well, here's this portal. Because again, this isn't over one phone call. This is over a dozen phone calls probably. And this rep finally sent me a portal where I could pay $100 and send in the phone. And I was like, okay, great. It doesn't work. I can't send, the actual payment portal just doesn't work. It gives me an error message. It physically will not let me even start the process. So I've been stuck with this useless brick that I paid $300 for, which someone originally paid $2,000 for, and it's just a brick, and Samsung won't do anything about it. And again, I'm not the only one. If this was just a one-off, and this was not a common problem, then maybe I can understand them not having the infrastructure to deal with this. Not infrastructure, but not having the experience to know how to deal with this specific issue, especially because individual reps, they're just reading from a script. But the problem is that this is a documented issue all over the internet, and here's my theory. The phone probably gets so ridiculously hot whenever it's doing the update that it zaps the friggin' speaker. Because I don't know what other explanation you can think of, because it's not like new firmware would make the speakers just not work. There's got to be some failure, some fault with it. But the fact that Samsung, and I understand, why Samsung would assume that it's obviously user error, because so many people, they don't clean their phones, their speaker grills are full of gunk, they'll throw their phone all over the place, and could have caused something to get dislodged or disconnected. I get that, but it's the fact that I was willing to pay. It was $100, and the price kept changing too, which is really annoying. At first they were like, oh, it'll be 200 something. I was like, no. And then it was like, oh, it'll be 100 something. And I'm like, okay. And then it just didn't work anyways. So nothing is proper. And, thank goodness that I have other Galaxy phones, because if this was my only phone, I would have been up shit's creek without a paddle. And obviously, in this case, I've since bought other phones, but it's really frustrating because the Fold experience when the speaker was working was really nice. I loved this phone. But again, every single time I've had to deal with Samsung support, whether it was, because my phone caught fire or whatever the case may be, they were always trying to give me the runaround, and it's really frustrating. They're a multi-billion-dollar company. You'd think they would treat their customers better. I mean, you wouldn't think that, because obviously they got there, for a reason. But Samsung still needs to make this right, and the fact that they just came out with the Z Fold 7, and they still haven't addressed these issues, is disgusting. So, don't buy the Fold 7. Don't buy any of these Folds. Ideally, don't buy any new Samsung products. Just buy them used. Because clearly they don't... again, even when I was willing to pay, even if you want to be like, well, you know, it's 1 day out of warranty, so we can't do anything, even though this is a well-documented issue and we should cover it as part of a repair program, because they should, obviously, if this is affecting many, many, many people, then, well, they could have let me pay for it, but they didn't. Like, nothing worked. None of their portals would work. I'd either wouldn't get the text messages, or the portals, you know, wouldn't actually submit the payment, or it would tell me there's an issue with my address, or they'd say there's an issue with my zip code. There was always some excuse. They just don't want anything to do with it. Because, I don't know, maybe because they know. This might be more conspiratorial, but maybe because they know that they would have to, like, cover it. I don't know. I mean, I guess either way. So yeah, I'm still mad at Samsung. I've had this thing for God knows how long, and I haven't been able to use it. I can use it at home with earbuds, but that's so annoying. And yeah, so I don't know. I've given up. This thing is annoying, and that's exactly what Samsung hopes, is they hope you to give up. Congratulations, Samsung. I mean, that's the thing, is I have a bunch of your products, but I keep wanting an excuse to buy a new Samsung phone, but you keep doing this crap, and it's like, I'm not gonna support you guys with a new phone. I guess I should have, and that's a, I remember now. I actually was going to take them up on the offer for the S23 Ultra back then, but they wouldn't sell it to me because they said my zip code was invalid, even though this house was built in 1942. But they're saying that my address was invalid. So, like, literally every single possible thing that could go wrong with me trying to either get this fixed or replaced went wrong. So it's like, they don't want my money. They don't want my money. They don't want my business, and they won't fix the thing that they caused. So let me know if you had this issue with your Fold where the sound went out after a software update, because even with the newest One UI 7 or whatever it's called, speakers still don't work. And I've reflashed the firmware 100 times. I've restarted it, wiped the cache, factory reset it, all the usual crap. Nothing works. It's junk. So, yeah. And that's the thing, is I took a bath on this because I finally sold this on eBay with the bad speakers, which I said it in the description, so if they try to return it, I'm going to be pissed. Because I literally say in the description that the speakers don't work. But either way, I ended up selling this for 170 bucks, and I paid 300 for it. And to be fair, it's been a couple years, but I've been trying to sell this the whole time, and it finally now just sold. So hopefully the person enjoys their new phone. I don't know if they're going to replace the speaker, if they're just going to use speakerphone or not, I don't know. But either way, hopefully they enjoy it, because I'm done with these damn Folds. And it sucked, because again, I loved this thing when it was working. It worked great. So yeah, Samsung, I'm disappointed. Your customer service is dog shit. And yeah, so that's annoying. I don't know. There's not really much else for me to say. That's it. So just a little rant about my Z Fold 3 and the audio issue that so many other people have had. That's pretty much that. Anyways, Teletech Mobile signing out. Have a good one. Peace. And subscribe for more videos on non-folding phones. Like this one. Or this one. Yes, they're Samsungs. Or this one. Alright. See ya.